It's Thursday night, Ben. You know what that means.
Time for spitball. That's not spitballing anymore.
The former spitball has turned into Lucky Dip.
Lucky Dick. I mean, dip.
I don't know. This is an awkward video right from the start. G'day everybody that's watching. We're back in lockdown, as you may know, from our Monday episode of Good Movie Monday and our Tuesday video reviewing a film. We're stuck on Zoom and we don't like it one bit.
Don't care for it.
No, don't care for it. So last time, yeah.
I feel dirty. I feel Jarrett Garn dirty.
That's not a sledge. Go back and listen to our show. I tell you what, though, like, I'm just not comfortable doing the Zoom thing anymore. Like, people might not realize there's a very slight lag from our perspective, and we keep talking over each other. But hopefully, it all comes out and we don't edit this, which makes it even more awkward. I'm just gonna.
All the dick jokes are fucking in there. Fucking. I didn't mean to get to start the swearing so quickly.
All right, shall I just dip into the bowl?
Dip into the bowl. What have you got there?
Well, let's have a look. What have I got here? Oh my goodness.
Jaws 3.
3D.
3D. Is this the one in the Bahamas?
No, that's number 4, The Revenge. This is the one set at the like SeaWorld with Luke Gossett Jr. and Dennis Quaid.
Hang on. Do they come down are they like a family and they've come down from outer space because they're enemy mine?
I know. How's
and
that?
And they've got their baby?
What a reunion.
Yeah.
Baby shark do. I never actually in my brain connected that. That's amazing.
They're the family.
So
they're the families in 2 films.
Dennis Quaid plays like the son from Jaws and Jaws 2, now grown up, and he's working at SeaWorld of all places. And it's like, come on, I do like Jaws 3. I can't lie. I like Jaws 1, 2, and 3, and I enjoy number 4. To be honest with you,
I've never seen any of them past the first one.
Oh, right.
I am curious to know, is there a scene where Jaws takes on a killer whale? Does it?
No, I don't think so. There is a great scene when you got all the people in that sort of, the subaquatic kind of tunnel, like dome tunnels that they walk through, and the shark is just going boom against the glass, boom. And as it cracks, it's like a 3D effect, right? So the shark's coming at you. Right. And it's supposed to be like the red and blue 3D glasses and all that kind of stuff. And then it finally, I don't know if that's the moment, but there's a scene where it breaks through or something and comes at the camera like that. And we're supposed to go,
That actually sounds amazing because that is my favorite. Those are my favorite scenes in both Deep Blue Sea and The Meg. Yeah. When it taps on the glass.
Do you know what I like about number 3? Number 3 is a very maligned film, as is number 4, but number 2 was a replication of the first film, right? So it was more or less Jaws again. And it's a good film in and of itself. It is actually a quality film. But number 3 kind of just thought, what can we do that's different? Let's put it in SeaWorld. Let's make it quirky. And I actually like it because it's a fun movie, and the environment they put it in is just, weird.
And what a great cast. Like, as you mentioned, it's Dennis Quaid and Luke Gossett Jr. There's also Bess Armstrong from Nothing in Common and High Road to China. Simon McCorkindale from Riddle of the Sands, whose character's name is Philip Fitzroyce. Of course it is. Of course it is. Leah Thompson.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Like, it's an amazing cast.
Who directed it?
Joe Alves. Alves. Alves.
Click on his name. What has he done?
He was the production designer of Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Escape from New York and Jaws 2. What else has he directed?
So he does have a Spielberg link there.
He definitely does. And he doesn't director. Here we go. It's so far down on the line. It's the only film he's ever directed.
Oh, wow. Wow.
He's art director, a production designer. He's done a bunch. Embryo. Everybody's All American. Do you remember that with Dennis Quaid? Free Jack, directed by
Jeff Murphy.
Jeff Murphy,
who we talked about on the podcast on Monday.
Drop Zone and Shadow Conspiracy and Fire Down Below with Steven Seagal. He's done quite a bit as a...
Well, that's the thing.
He also produced Free Jack. No wonder his career ended.
A lot of these one-time filmmakers have all had a very extensive career behind the scenes doing other things. Look at Paul Murphy, for example, that we had on the show on Monday. He's directed 3 feature films, but he's made a shitload of other stuff, behind the scenes as, set design and grip and all that kind of stuff. We'll go for another one. I'm really in the mood to do a Jaws marathon now, so thanks for that. Although I'm the one that selected, I suppose. But
yes, but you're welcome.
That's right. What's that one?
Open Water.
Interesting. Another shark film.
Another shark film, yeah.
And
I just like to think of, it doesn't even... The funny thing is about Open Water is that it doesn't even need the shark.
Yeah. It's just the tension and the suspense.
Yeah.
It just needs the water. It just needs the open water.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, firstly, I might say this is weird. We've done Jaws 3 and then we've done Open Water. And just to give everybody a little bit of a exclusive, I guess, we do have the director of Great White coming up on the show in a few weeks' time. So, like...
We're going to have to do a shark
We'll have to do a shark episode coming up. So let's not bite off more than we can chew here. But Open Water is it's an effective film. I do like this one a lot. Are you a fan?
It is Trauki's best film, I would say.
He didn't direct this one.
Didn't he direct Open Water?
No.
The Reef.
He did The Reef, different one.
But it's also called Open Water.
Yeah, no, it's not the same title. Not the same film.
Are you talking about the one where they're on the
Barrier Reef?
Boat,
the two people
jump off the
two
get left behind.
Yeah, the 2 people get left behind, and they're just in there like.
Which is the one where it's like all 6? There's 6 or 7 of them, and they all jump in the water, and then they
drift.
Adrift,
which is Open Water 2.
With that.
It's number 2. That one. Because
I do like that because that film doesn't need the shark. Like you just can't get back on the boat. Like, what the fuck do you do?
That's a terrifying film to me, simply because their salvation is right there. They just can't reach it.
Yeah.
And no one thinks of that. Like, they all jump off the boat. No one thinks, well, there's no one to pull us up. Like, Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but no, Open Water, the first one, I just think is a real masterclass in tension. It's, there are moments in the film where the camera's in the water. Obviously, the camera's in the water with them, but where the lens just ever so slightly submerges below the surface and back up again. But that fraction of time beneath the water, you get that glimpse of a shark.
Yeah,
yeah.
I still think it's. I still think it's what's the name's best film. Andrew Trauki's best film. No, he didn't have anything to do with it.
Have a look at this. You might be thinking of Blackwater.
Blackwater.
or maybe Blackwater Abyss.
Blackwater Abyss.
Anyway, what is there anything else to say about Open Water? We haven't really touched upon it. Just a whole lot of confusion about the movie, what it is.
I'm sure we'll be talking about it during the shark episode.
All right, let's avoid shark movies for the rest of this. I'll go for another one. You like the ones that are really scrunched up tight, don't you? So,
yeah.
Okay.
I like the little ones.
Is that? Oops.
Eliminators.
Yes. Eliminators. Get excited.
The Manborg ripoff.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, no.
Other way around.
Hang on. Manborg, no. I loved it. You know what I love most about Eliminators really is that when Daniel Armstrong, when we released Sheeporg Massacre, I can't remember which one it was. One of the Astron 6 guys like put up the poster and were like, "This, you guys are going to be fucking joking, right? This is a complete rip-off of Manborg." And then someone in the comments went, "What are you guys talking about?" And then put up the poster for Eliminators.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, good one.
So good. So good. And I like all 3 of those films.
Yeah, they're all entertaining in their own way.
Let me call them, I like all 3 of those movies. I wouldn't call them films. I do like the distinction between movie and film. It's the Oliver Stone thing where he makes films except for U-Turn, which he calls a movie.
Really?
If you look at the credits of U-Turn, it says an Oliver Stone movie. It's the only time it's ever said that.
Right. I thought it was the degree of cocaine abuse on the set. Like if he doesn't remember making it, it's a movie.
Yeah.
If he remembers making it, it's a
But
film.
he has that sort of pompous kind of attitude that there's definitely a difference between a film and a movie is much more of a popcorn kind of experience as opposed to an intellectual whatever. But
I've really got to watch U-Turn again. Like I saw it theatrically.
It's essentially
I don't remember much about it.
It's an American waking fright. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
Yeah. But
because he gets trapped in the town, right? He can't get out because his car breaks down and he's stuck there. And
everything's kind
Jennifer Lopez is hot.
But everyone's kind of that overly friendly but menacing at the same time. There's always like an underlying threat, which is why.
And by hot, I don't mean when I say Jennifer Lopez is hot, I don't mean she's attractive. I mean that she
sweaty.
Like a lot of the time, she looks like she's really.
Well, what about
everyone's really hot?
Billy Bob Thornton covered in oil and grease, and he's very hot.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, what the fuck? We're talking about Eliminators. I first saw this film at a sleepover when I was probably about 10, and one of those nights where you have just lots of popcorn and pizza, and you just got a pile of videotapes in front of the TV or on the coffee table. And Eliminators was the one that we watched and fucking loved. It's got a guy with fucking tank wheels.
Tank wheels, yeah. I was gonna say, of those, how many films did you watch before you fell asleep?
I usually made it the whole distance, man.
Fuck, I never made it. I fell asleep through. Unfortunately, sleepover. I fell asleep through Deliverance, which is not the film that you want to fall asleep to because the shit that you get the next day for it.
And you also don't want to wake up at that moment and squeal like a pig.
Yeah, no. You don't even want to wake up during that banjo moment at the start.
No, I lived for those movie nights with friends, like those sleepovers where you just stayed up all night long watching movies. Like that was it for me. That was my childhood right there. So every time made it all the way. I was quite often the only one left.
See, I was going to say the difference between you and me is I didn't have any friends. There was none of that.
You were like watching movies and just like looking at everyone around you, but it's just like a room full of cardboard cutouts. And,
it's like the lonely guy. I've just got a bunch of standees in the house.
Oh shit!
Come on! Do you guys want to watch Angel? No. Okay.
Hey, wasn't Eliminators? Was it a Charles Band production?
I think so. Yeah, it's been released on Blu-ray through 88 Films.
I need to get that Blu-ray, man.
I think it's in there.
I've only got
in there.
I've got a DVD that I'm pretty sure is like a VHS transfer.
I do have a copy. It's right. It's just behind me, but
so is mine. But we won't bother with that. We'll move on to the next one.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, look up Eliminators. Surely there's a free copy on like YouTube or something.
100%. There would be. Well, it'd be on Amazon Prime or Tubi with the VPN. Perfect Storm. I have not seen a Perfect Storm because I thought the concept of it was balls.
I loved it. I really, really loved it.
Yeah, look, I'm sure it's a good movie. I was just like, I don't want to get emotionally involved with all these characters, and I know they're all going to die and die horrifically, and not be able to, like there's no tension. It's just dread.
I think that there is dread. That's true. I was going to say it's a fucking tense film. I remember being in the cinema and on the edge of my seat, but I had the benefit of not knowing that they all die. So we've spoiled it for a lot of newcomers. That's for sure.
Well, that's how it was sold.
Yeah.
As I recall, that's how it was sold.
No,
like
it is a really somber film, but I think, strangely, Wolfgang Petersen was the perfect person to direct it because he kind of brought a very Hollywoodish kind of quality to it with the big open sea storms and all that kind of stuff. But it's the cast and it's the tone of the film. John C. Reilly is particularly good. And they're just
a great William Fichtner, George Clooney, like it was
George Clooney is when he was in his prime as far as I'm concerned. There's a great moment too that I just the only thing my brain goes to immediately when thinking of this film is a scene in the middle of a storm and a giant fishing hook, like one of those big fuckers, flies around, cops John C. Reilly through the hand and then drags him overboard in the storm. And the boat is like ripping through the fucking waves, and he's just under the water being pulled at 100 miles an hour. It's fucking terrifying.
Terrifying by his hand. I mean, it is an all-star cast. So it's George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, John Hawkes, William Fichtner. They're all on the boat. Diane Lane and Mary Elizabeth Mastriantonio waiting at home.
In the bar.
So John C. Reilly, Karen Allen. Like it's fucking... it's a great... Bob Gunton's in it. It's a great cast. I do have to... Like I do believe I've got a copy on DVD somewhere.
Yeah, watch it. It's worth it because it's just a well-made film.
Well, I'll see if Jarrett has the 4K with Atmos and see if he can.
Dolby Atmos.
Like we can extend the sex bubble to include Jarrett, and I can go around and watch it with the Atmos track.
When two sex bubbles become one.
Yeah, that's right.
Shit. How many more of these do you want to do?
Oh, however many you want, mate.
Hang on, I can't. There we go. Oh, these are all fucking nautical. These are all nautical.
Yeah, in the heart of this. I thought that actually said when it was backwards, I thought it was in the heat of the night. And I was like, they call me Mr. Tibbs. Like, that's what I was going to
This is a bowl full of, like, titles I've filled up over the weeks. Like, it's been sitting on the desk every week that we do this. I've not had a theme in mind, and yet I'm pulling out all these bloody seafaring movies. What is going on? Did you like this one?
Except for Eliminators.
This is Ron Howard's version of Moby Dick, or the story that inspired Moby Dick.
Yeah. It's also the reason I didn't watch it.
Okay. I found it. I avoided it for a long time, and I watched it probably 6 months ago for the first time.
Like it looked like the trailer looked good. It looked like a special effects extravaganza, and it was going to be all that sort of stuff. But I've never liked the story of Moby Dick.
Interesting, because I love the story of Moby Dick, but the only adaptation I've ever liked was the Gregory Peck one. I think that's a really great film. And I was very hesitant to go into this one because I just didn't want that spoiled. But I was relieved when I watched it just to find out it's not Moby Dick. It's just not. It's just, the author hearing of the story and being told the real story, and then it's about him fabricating elements of it to make it a book.
Right. I see.
Yeah. So it's told in flashback. He rocks up to the main, like, Chris Hemsworth's character, I think it was, as an old man, and he's sort of telling the story backwards, and
it's like the Titanic, and
yes,
what's the other one where it's the old person, is it Young Guns?
Oh,
where
two.
It's old
Number two,
the kid at the start. Number two, yeah.
Man, if we
telling the story,
however many Jeff Murphy references we can throw into this week, all the better. Because that was the controversy with number 2, is because Billy the Kid was supposed to have died, and at the end of Young Guns 1 there was the title card telling you when he died, and yet Young Guns 2 comes along with this other story of him as an old man recounting those days, and it turns out there was an actual man called Brushy Bob or whatever that came from nowhere in the 50s claiming to be him. So I like that they've taken that true story and filled the gaps. What if that was true?
It in. Yeah, right.
That was a clever way to go about it. Which maybe now they're doing Young Guns 3, maybe that's what they'll do as well, like an alternative timeline or something.
Yeah, so where did this question come up? Who would you cast? I think it was on the Fake Shemp
Instagram,
the Good Movie Monday Instagram.
Yep.
Who would you cast? I'm curious as to your answer to this question.
Well, I
who would you put in it?
I would probably put like a James Brolin in there as like maybe a sheriff or a villainous sort of character. For a young
the Terrence Stamp type character. Would you?
No.
Would it be a remake? Would you just do a remake of Young Guns?
Well,
would you continue it on?
Here's the thing. I actually wrote a Young Guns 3 as one of those scripts that I would write just to... Well, people, when you write, you have to write just to keep your writing skills sharpened, right? And you write these things for yourself. Like I told you, I wrote an Arachnophobia sequel, and I wrote a Young Guns 3. And what I did was sort of an alternative timeline where I had Billy the Kid flee to Australia and live here in exile, and he gets caught up in the Buckland massacre story, which is something that happened in real life in the highlands of Victoria, where a farmer exploits that story of the massacre where a lot of Chinese immigrants were killed. He exploits it for purchasing all the land that they were on, and Billy the Kid gets recruited by locals who've lost their land when they discover his identity to help them sort of rustle it back. And anyway, I would do it like that, an alternative timeline where you've got Billy the Kid as a central character and perhaps a new group of renegades or whatever. Someone like Timothée Chalamet in there, throw him in as a young gun, as much as I hate his guts. Yeah.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Like, all have boys who aren't quite old enough to grow facial hair yet.
Yeah, well, Balthazar Getty was in part 2, and he was like a tiny little tacker. But that kind of...
I've never... I think Young Guns might have been Young Guns 2 might have been the first time I ever saw Emilio Estevez with facial hair. Oh no, that's right. He has the mustache at the beginning of Stakeout, and they make him shave it so he can be the kid.
Oh mate, Stakeout. I love Emilio. All right, here we go. Another one. Maybe this is the last one because I think we've been going on for a fair while, and no one's watching anymore. So maybe this. I don't think
they were watching at the start.
Maybe this will be a seafaring one. It is.
Daagon?
Daagon. The sea...
Daagon?
The H.P. Lovecraft sea monster. What the fuck is going on?
Directed by, was it Stuart Gordon?
You're not as blown away by this. You're not as blown away by this coincidence as I am.
No, because funnily enough, every single movie that you've read out, I have not seen. Every one of them.
They are all seafaring except for bloody Eliminators.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of movies on the sea that I've like Master and Commander I really liked.
We're like creating our own episode right here of the show.
Yeah, of the show.
Hang on,
it'd be good to I mean, I've seen Jaws.
I'm just going to write that down.
I've seen Jaws a bunch of times, but I've never seen any of the others.
Who would we get as a guest if we did a seafaring episode?
Michael Caine.
No,
maybe not.
Bluefin was an Aussie seafaring film. Maybe someone to do with Bluefin. Our good friend Matthew Holmes, who did Legend of Ben Hall, was trying to get a bluefin off the ground for a while there. Anyway,
it just sounds like an incredibly painful process to work on the water, to do any kind of water-based film.
You'd have to do a very, very clever use of soundstage.
Yeah, why make it so hard on yourself?
I know. Daagon is the Stuart Gordon film, which is is it the third or fourth collaboration of an H.P. Lovecraft story between was it Stuart Gordon who directed that? Yes. Stuart Gordon, Dennis Paoli, and Brian Yuzna. The three guys that made Reanimator and From Beyond. And I think that's maybe Castle Freak was another one, but that wasn't Lovecraft. Anyway, I love Daagon. It's good. It's when it first came out, I just didn't think much of it, but it's one of those where 10 years goes by, you watch it again, and you realize there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, it is. I think it's the one Beyond Genres title that I'm missing. I don't have the Blu-ray.
I've got it.
I should pick it up.
And of course, Brian Yuzna has a nice orgy scene at the end of it.
Is a shunting? Is there a shunting in it?
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah.
I knew you'd say that. I led you into the trap, my friend.
Yeah. I blithely and blindly.
As I started talking about it, I'm like, oh, he's going to bring up shunting. All right.
Yeah, well, if you can't,
imagine that's your legacy in cinema.
If somebody talks about an orgy in a small town, I think, well, they're having a shunting. That is
how often does that conversation come up?
Oh, no, there's a movie called An Orgy in a Small Town.
Isn't that Dimbula?
Yeah. And that's a shunting.
Yeah.
You better believe that's a shunting.
How goes Dimbula?
Sex with your family and friends? That's a shunting. It's a...
Oh, mate.
Orgies, there's such a weird concept of an orgy.
Yep.
I feel like it's like a more awkward version of a threesome when you're kind of left out of it. Like when you're you're there with two women, or you're there with another dude and a woman, and they're getting it on, and you're on the outside, how do I?
Yeah, well, that's it. Imagine being that last guy that walks into an orgy. It's like, what do I... Hang on.
How do you insert, literally insert yourself?
There's just one random guy left on the end that, I guess that's my entry point.
it's not like a conga line, like where it splits off and you can kind of join. You just join in at the end. It's a bit.
Well, it could be.
It's a bit more complicated. Yeah, but yeah. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
My goodness. All right. I guess I'll catch you on Monday's show. How about that? I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Ciao.
I think I might be done forever.
You've actually sunken on the screen, so
I've sunk. I know. I'm like I started off a lot taller.
Cropping this for
show's gone on.
Cropping this for a split screen is going to be very interesting, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. You look like what's his name? Jonathan Rhys Davies in Lord of the Rings when he's up at the wall. I'd like me to get you a box.